You're listening to Behind the Mic. Welcome to Behind the Mic, or welcome back to Behind the Mic. I'm your host, Jaleesa Mooney, and how have you guys been? As usual, I've missed you guys like crazy, but I'm actually recording this a few weeks ahead, so by the time you're listening to this, I believe it's Thanksgiving, so you're probably busy stuffing your face, eating as much turkey as possible, and hoping for the bigger side of the wishbone, right? Isn't that what normal people do on Thanksgiving, I think? I tend to eat as much as possible in the first round and then pass out and then wake back up, eat a second round, and then pass back out, go to bed for the night, wake up in the morning, and then have it again for breakfast. And then after that, I'm usually set for the next year. So I'm looking forward to doing that. I will be spending my Thanksgiving in Oregon. I'm actually in Oregon by the time you're listening to this. But I'm not there yet, so I don't really know how to talk about. But I'm excited to be going. I'm going to visit my friend Hope, which if you listen to our Rico Nasty episode, you might be familiar with her, mainly me bullying her, but I love her. She's amazing. She puts up with me. It's actually going to be her birthday. She's turning 21, and I literally I've never been so excited to see a person in my life. I can't even put it into words. I have missed her so much. It's been too long. And this pandemic has made me feel like it's been 2 years crushed into less than one. So I feel like I really haven't seen her in forever. And I'm really needing that mental break. You know, those friends that just provide that different kind of relief. So I'm going to go spend my Thanksgiving with that girl. with that girl. I don't know why I just said that. I'm going to spend it with her. Sorry, Hope. That was awful. But I'm super excited. I did hear that we are also going back into quarantine. And by the time that I get there, she actually told me that we will be in quarantine for like 2 weeks, which is cool because I don't like to do anything anyways. So I was planning on staying inside the house all day and still doing school because I'll still be in school. But it kind of works out because I'm literally not moving there. What am I saying? I'm staying there for like 2.5-ish weeks or so. I basically just like invited myself and then I was like, yeah, I'm not going to leave at a normal time. Since I'm doing this, I'm going to try to be away for as long as possible, but thanks for having me. So I'll be back in a few weeks once I leave, but I'm so excited. It's all I've been thinking about. I leave in like 3 days though, so it's not that bad, but I can't wait. I hope that you're spending the holidays with people that you love and care about. And I hope that you're eating as much food as possible too. I hope that I'm eating as much food as possible. I mean, it won't be Thanksgiving by the time this comes out yet, but maybe I can be like your Thanksgiving treat. Is Black Friday happening this year? Sorry, that I was just thinking about like what happens after Thanksgiving. It's usually Black Friday, but like, is that a thing? Because it just really shouldn't be. I just feel like why just like if anything make it online, but like the risk of even doing it in stores I just feel like is so stupid because you know that all of these people are going to go in and take all of these deals and that's just so gross and I just feel so bad for the people that have to work. Thank you for doing that. That's very kind of you. I never was a person who really participated in Black Friday. Like I went to Black Friday shopping twice in my life. The first time I went to the mall and that was the scariest thing I've ever done. I like lost my friends for like 30 minutes and I was a little bit younger, so I was just like, what is happening here? I don't get it. I didn't even buy anything because I was poor. So like there wasn't really a purpose in me going. I was just going to like hang out with my friends and watch them spend their money, that's most of my life. But the second time I went with my friend and her family and it was the same deal where I didn't spend any money. But that one was a little bit more fun because her family really goes hard. I don't even really remember what we did, but for some reason I was a little bit more entertained. I think we like got to like make hot cocoa and like her mom wanted to go like really early, so we woke up at like 2 or 3. It was just like a fun activity. Like I didn't really care about it. I just went to do it, but I just was never like a Black Friday person. I'm like, how are those deals significantly better than what you're already like selling that for? I just feel like it's not. I don't know. My voice sounds like I just woke up. Still, even though I waited like 2 hours to record after waking up. Do I sound like this all the time? I don't think I do. So I'm sorry. It won't sound like this during the bulk of the episode, so get excited for that. But I'm just shook that this is what I have to deal with. I don't think I have anything else to ramble about. I'm excited to get into this episode. We don't need to talk about my voice anymore. You're barely going to hear it, so good for you. So honestly, let's introduce our artist so we can just jump into it. So can I get a quick drum roll, please? Olivia King. How did I do? I feel like I'm improving. What do you guys think? No, I can't even fake credit. Thank you, Olivia. That was the queen herself. I appreciate you sending that over. I just wanted to see if I can prank any of you. It looks like I got absolutely no one, but I tried, and that's all that matters. But I'm so excited to share this episode with you guys. It's a different format than we've done before because I actually got to talk to Olivia and ask her these questions myself. So this time, hopefully, there should be no wrong answers. I'm so excited to share Olivia's story with you guys. She is so sweet, and I just want to thank her again for sitting down with me. It was so much fun to be able to do this, so I hope that I can do more episodes like these in the future. But I'm going to stop rambling so we can get into it. So let's play. Well, hi, Olivia. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks so much for having me.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for being here. I'm doing pretty well myself. How have you been holding up during this pandemic?
Probably better than most. I hate to say that because we're in such a weird time, but this has been like one of my best years. I don't I hate saying that because I feel like it's been such a tough year for a lot of people. But I've just been fortunate enough to have a home studio and a whole home setup that made it really easy for me to crank out as much music as possible. So I just took advantage of this time and I figured I'm never going to have this time again at home. So why not make the most of it? So I've been having a grand old time making as much music as possible.
Oh, I love it. No, that's awesome. I'm glad that you can stay like as dedicated. It doesn't become something that's like the same old routine, especially since every
Yeah,
day kind of
I
feels like
know.
the
It
same.
I mean, it definitely can feel like that sometimes, and there are obviously times where I can get in my head and feel anxious and feel depressed and like all the regular feelings that everyone's feeling right now. But I really am trying my best to just be as productive as possible.
Definitely. Besides working on music, have you found yourself getting into any new hobbies?
Well, right before quarantine, I was really into thrifting and making my home, making my home more homey. Right,
Yeah.
like when I first moved in, it just felt a little cold, like it just needed some
Yeah.
warmth. And so that's what I've been really focusing on is just making my home feel like a home because especially with spending all of our time at home, I want it
Yes.
to just feel like, a place where I can relax and I'm comfortable. So I've been waiting on my new couch to come in. That thing has been taking forever. They're like, oh, it's COVID and it's stuck overseas. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. It's supposed to be in September. Now I don't even know if it's going to be here for Christmas, but
Oh my gosh,
that
that's forever.
I know it was so ridiculous. They told me September. I had ordered it in like July. Absolutely
Oh
ridiculous.
my
But
gosh.
needless to say, I'm getting there on making my home more homey.
Oh, exactly. That's my favorite thing to do, like, when I move to a new place or, like, get, like, a new room
Yep.
somewhere, the first thing I have to do is, like, make at least it's usually my room if I'm, like 'cause, here I have roommates, so it's
Yep.
just, like, my whole room is basically its own little house
Yeah.
inside of a room for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've gotten so into like interior decorating and my mom actually was an interior decorator, so I probably picked up on it from her. She had her whole like interior design business back when I was little. And so now she's so excited that I'm as into it as she has always been
Oh
cuz
my gosh, I
before when
love
I was younger, I'm like, "Oh, for Christmas I want clothes or I want toys." And now it's like I only want home decor stuff, please. So
specifically
she's loving it. Yes.
I love. Well, I'm so happy to have you here today. This is literally so exciting. Like, I cannot wait to get into it. So, I think that we should just officially start off. But first off, we would love to know when and where were you born? And can you tell us a little bit about like the city that you came from? Was it a big or small town and kind of like the
Yeah.
environment growing up?
Yeah, so I was actually born in Rochester, New York, upstate New York. And we moved quite a bit because my dad was actually a television news anchor. So
Oh,
him
wow.
trying to come up through the ranks caused us to move a lot. So we moved a little bit throughout New York, and then he ended up getting a job in Minnesota, which was like so different than the vibe my parents were used to. They didn't know anyone there. My poor mom, we moved there when I was 2 and my brother was 6 months old. So my mom didn't know anyone. And she's like trying to raise 2 kids by herself, which
Yeah.
she said was very difficult. She ended up finding like amazing friends that were lifelong friends, but then he got the opportunity to kind of come back to the East Coast where both my parents are from, and in Rhode Island. And so my dad's from the Boston area and my mom's from New York. So they're like, oh, this is perfect. It's right in the middle. We can be right in the middle of our families. So came back here, and I've been in Rhode Island for probably 20 years now.
Oh, wow.
I know, which is crazy. And I've always kind of thought that I needed to be in a big city to be successful in this industry. I feel like a lot of people kind of put that pressure on themselves like, oh, I need to be in LA to be successful. I need to be in New York City to be successful. And I just kind of stopped thinking that way because family is so important to me and I want to be around them. And realistically, I can't just pick up and move my whole family to LA or something, even though I wish I could. So I kind of made the decision like, you know what? I'm going to stay put and travel whenever need be. It has saved me money because I would be hardcore downsizing and paying more if I was living in a big city. So I've kind of just made the decision like, hey, we have the internet, we have social media. There's so much that I can do from any location. So I've made the most of being in Rhode Island.
That's awesome, and I feel like COVID even kind of pushed or I guess emphasized that point even more because it
Yeah.
opened up so many more opportunities. Like, I've noticed I kinda feel the same way where it's like LA and New York seem to be, like, the base
Yeah.
places to be if you,
Yeah.
I guess, like, wanna grow, but now all these opportunities are opening since things are becoming more remote, and I think
Yeah.
that there definitely is potential to grow there, but that's awesome that you've been residing in Rhode Island. I've never had the chance to go there. Is it like, what's the weather like? Is it,
Um, I mean, you have every season, which I love.
mhm.
It's definitely more usually on the mild side. The past few years have been mild seasons, so we didn't have that much snow last year, but it was cold. I just love having all 4 seasons. It'd be hard for me to give that up because I love the change of seasons. I'm about a mile from the ocean, which is nice. That's something that I'm so used to now. I'm not even that big of a beach person, but just to have the water there to just go look at, it's just so relaxing and calming, and the air just seems crisper, and so I'm happy.
I love that. That's amazing, just as you should be, and you said that your family is also nearby you. Is it just you and
Yeah.
your brother of, like, siblings?
Yep. So that I just have one brother. He actually plays for the Yankees, so he
Oh, wow.
this this year was weird. Yeah, I think I forgot to tell you that earlier. Um, so yeah, he plays for the Yankees, and this year was weird because they were kind of in a bubble where no one could come in or out, and then when they traveled, they were kind of in a bubble. And I mean, sports were just super weird this year, so he didn't like have. This was his first full year on the team, so he didn't have time to really get a place or
Oh,
anything in New
okay.
York. So he was pretty much living in a hotel, which they called like the bubble in Yonkers, I think it was this year. So
Oh,
I
wow.
mean, he's always kind of who knows where he's going to be with his baseball. He can get traded at any time. But I mean, his plan is, I mean, our goal in life is to have this family compound where we all live on and raise our kids. And so I'm actually really close with my boyfriend's sister and her husband, and then it kind of goes all down the line. It's like me and my brother, my boyfriend and his sister, then his sister's husband and his family we're all super close with, and we're all close in age, and we all
Oh,
have one sibling. So it's like a bunch of us that all hang out together, and like they're my best friends, which is so lucky because sometimes like you start dating someone, you're like, don't really like their family, or
yeah,
you're just not similar, or
definitely.
but we've gotten really lucky. So his sister, my boyfriend's sister, is actually moving like 15 minutes away from us in like less than a month. So
That's
so
so
that's pretty cool.
exciting.
Yeah, and my mom and dad, they live about 40 minutes away, which isn't too bad. And then my boyfriend's from the Boston area, so that's his mom and stuff is about an hour or two away, but all of us
Yeah.
kids are super close and want to make sure we all have babies together. So we got to start grounding ourselves to
Yeah.
prepare, because his sister just got married this year. It was weird calling her her husband because it's been her boyfriend for so long.
Oh, I
but
totally
but
get
we're
that.
we're all super close, and so that, I mean, that's just as important to me as my career is, and if I can do both, then that that's perfect.
Yeah, best of both worlds, definitely. I love that.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
when you were growing up, you have it seems like you have like these like amazing influences on your life, but what did you imagine for your life? And like what did you want to be when you were growing up? And how do you feel like your life might be different, but also some ways similar to the dream that you kind of pictured when you were
Yeah.
little?
I mean, ever since I was a little girl, like I was constantly singing, and that was always my dreams. I don't feel like that's ever really changed. No one in my family is musical, so I didn't have much direction there. Like they were all into sports, and so we're able to kind of help my brother in that avenue. Like everyone around them, all their friends had sons that were baseball players. Like that's just what
Yeah.
happened. Like they formed this community of like baseball moms and dads, and that's just not how it was with me. They're super supportive, but they just couldn't give that much direction on like, hey, yeah, you should do this, or you should go meet this person.
Yeah, I
Even though
get
my
that.
dad was technically in the entertainment industry, being a television news anchor, I mean, he had some connections that he'd, you know, put me on to here and there, but it wasn't anything like, oh, groundbreaking, my big
Yeah.
break because he hooked me up with someone.
I totally get that. Who would you say then has been someone that's influenced you within like I guess within life, but also like within music, and what do you feel like you've learned from them?
Yeah, I mean, I've honestly done everything myself in the past like 10 years, and I wish I could have had some sort of a mentor, because that would have been super helpful to be like, hey, like you should go down this path, or you should go down this path, or you shouldn't do this. So that's why I'm trying to be that for other artists now, and it's easy for them to access me on Instagram DMs, and I answer all their questions, and I'm very open and honest about my journey. So it's kind of hard to say like maybe a role model that I know personally, because I have done everything kind of myself. But as far as like artists who really inspire me, old school is like her sound, and sonically is Lauren Hill. Like my mom always played her in our house. She was just had she's the epitome of cool. Like
She's
everything
amazing.
she does, like everything she touches turns to gold. She's just awesome, and that was Killing Me Softly was the first song I ever performed, and I just like ended up being obsessed with her. So I would say her, and then more modern day, obviously I'm a big Ariana Grande fan, and I mean everything she's doing is just kind of incredible. So
Yeah.
I would love to kind of follow in those footsteps.
Oh, yes, definitely. I mean, I definitely think you're on the path there, so
Well,
no worries
thanks. I'm
about
trying.
it. But you mentioned that you started singing when you were pretty young, but do you play like, did you start playing any instruments when you were younger too, or do you
Um,
demonstrate kind of any talents in those?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, I took lessons on a bunch of different instruments. I wish I kind of stuck with it a little bit more. I was way more into dancing and singing instead of playing an instrument and singing. So
Yeah.
I took more dance classes than I did like classes with instruments. But I did take piano lessons. I took violin lessons. I did some drumming. Like I kind of dabbled in it all. I wish I stayed more with it because I mean that's just kind of like a cool thing. Even in today's day and age, you don't even really need it. Like you can totally produce just on your computer and don't need
Yeah.
actual instruments. But it's just cool to have live instruments, and I wish I stuck with it more. But I loved dance more, so I really kind of combined dance with singing.
Yeah. How long to have like did you do dance for?
I started probably when I was like 3 and took dance classes up until the end of college. Like
Oh,
I
really?
just yeah, I just absolutely loved it. I just found a love for hip hop especially, and just kind of putting that with my whole act of singing really kind of went well. So I met so many dancers kind of throughout my journey, and they've become some of my best friends, which is pretty awesome.
That's amazing. Did you study dance in college as well, or was it like an extracurricular on top of?
I didn't. It was just an extracurricular. It was a we were in a dance crew called Exposure, and it was I actually got exposed to a lot of different, like culturally different dances, and
Yeah.
it was actually pretty cool. I learned a lot of Spanish dancing. I learned just all different cultural dances that I would have never learned before. So, I mean, I met my best friends in that group. So yeah,
Oh,
it
that's
was pretty
awesome.
cool. Yeah.
Oh, I love to hear that. That's amazing. So I'm going to throw two questions at you because they might have the same answer.
Okay.
But the first question is, who would you most like to collaborate with? And if you could open a show for any artist, who would it be? But they can be different too,
Mm.
but just in case.
Um, I mean, they'd probably be the 2 that I said. I would like to open for Ariana, but I'd like to collaborate with Lauren Hill. I mean, she's just I feel like being in a room with her would just be surreal.
Yeah, definitely. That's honestly a good pick. I feel like your voice definitely has like a good match with Lauryn Hill, and that could be a collaboration
Yeah.
that could break some barriers.
Yeah, it would be cool, and then, like, Ariana Grande's fan base is similar to mine, that young female fan base, so I feel like that would be, fitting.
Yeah. Well, you said that, Lauryn Hill's "Killing Me Softly" was the first song that you ever performed.
Mhm.
Can you tell us a little bit about that performance and, like, any emotions that were kinda running through you
Yeah,
when you were
it
going into
was in 7th grade.
that? Oh
I
my
was
goodness.
so nervous.
Yeah.
That's like the official song I ever performed. In 3rd grade, I performed in church, and I was way more nervous for that. But like the official like non-church song I performed was "Killing Me Softly," and it was at I can't even remember if it was a talent show. I almost feel like it was some music awards ceremony or something, and they asked me to sing, and and I chose "Killing Me Softly" because my mom put me onto that song. And I mean, I used to get so nervous. Once the first like 3 words came out of my mouth, I was good. But leading up to that, I would get so nervous. Now, if I'm prepared, I don't get nervous. If I'm not prepared, then it's like, "Ugh." And I feel like that's kind of anything in life. Like if you're
Yeah,
prepared, you
definitely.
feel good about it.
Do you have tips for dealing, like, with performance anxiety? Because on like, I am very, very transparent with, like, mental health on here, so I talk like, I
Yeah,
deal with anxiety a lot of the times,
yeah,
and so it's even, like, little things that I just get so worked up on, even if I feel like I definitely knew
yeah,
my stuff, I would probably just,
yeah,
like, freak myself out.
yeah.
So do you have any, like, last minute, like, tips or tricks that you do to kind of just, like, get your head out of that headspace?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like you have to amp yourself up and give yourself that confidence. So like I would literally listen to like Eminem and just amp myself up and be like, you are that
Yeah.
fill in the blank.
Yeah.
Like you have to psych yourself out and tell yourself that because
Yeah.
like and I'm pretty sure Beyonce does like a similar thing, has like a similar mantra of like you are a boss, you are bad, you are this, you are that, you're a diva, you're
Yeah.
anything to really put herself in that headspace because in real life she said she's very shy and not and humble and not, in your
Yeah.
face, confident, cocky almost. But on stage, you want to be like that. So I kind of have to do the same thing to myself, is talk myself through that, and have that mantra.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like the industry is always evolving, so it's amazing to just see how everyone can change and just I guess like how everyone perceives and can like be perceived. But
Yeah.
if there was something that you could change about the industry, what do you think you would change? And is there any advice that you may give out to any young musicians out there that are trying to get their feet in the water in the industry?
Yeah, I mean, as far as changing things, I wish there was, and this probably will never happen because it's just so hard, but it's really difficult to kind of navigate your way through and find people who are legit and who aren't. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've gone to meet someone and they're not who they say they are, or I've gone all the way to just about sign a contract with them and then find out they're phony. Like, I wish
Yeah.
there was some way to know who the quality people are. Like, people can have in their Instagram bio, "Oh, I'm the senior vice president of Sony Records," and they don't even work there. Like, I can't tell you how many times that's happened. So I
Yeah,
wish there
definitely.
was almost like a LinkedIn that could, I mean, I guess LinkedIn would probably show you where people work and if they're legit, but I don't know, if there was something like that that could really, you had to have some sort of a badge that said, yeah, I'm legit, that would
Yeah.
be very helpful, because I've just wasted so much time, energy, and money on people that are just frauds, which is unfortunate. But any advice that I would give to upcoming artists would be just to be consistent. If you stay top of mind, that's so important. People lose interest really quickly. So if you're not constantly on top of your game and pushing your stuff right in front of them, I feel like people kind of tend to forget. So I'm really focused on being as consistent as possible all the time, and just honing in on my craft while just keeping that consistency.
Definitely. And I think that reigns true now more than ever. I feel like it's hard to build a fan base off of something that's not authentic. So it's
Yeah,
important to kind of stay true to who you are.
yeah.
But that's beautiful. I want to propose this question for you to see. I don't know if you have any other interest in it, but if you had the opportunity to join a different facet of the music industry, what do you think that you would choose to be involved in?
It would probably be some sort of music marketing of sorts, or playlist curator at Spotify or something. I feel like I could listen to music all day long and
Yeah.
would love to curate playlists and connect with artists and really help artists blow up. Like, that's what's so cool about Spotify, is you don't have to be a signed artist to get on one of their huge playlists and have them blow you up. So that's it, if things were different and I wasn't an artist myself but still into music, I would love to be in that area.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm doing because I can't sing, so I'll let you know how it goes.
Okay.
But that was beautiful, and I think that this is a perfect point to refresh, and we'll take a quick break, but when we get back, we'll dive right back into more music talk with Olivia and talk about some of her upcoming work. But in the meantime, enjoy a sneak peek of her newest release, Secret Santa.
We play Secret Santa. Yeah, I'll be your Secret Santa. I'll be your Secret Santa. You know your precious what I got, but that's the fun of it. That's the fun of it. Can we play Secret Santa? I'll be your Secret Santa. Say it again. You know your precious what I got, but that's the fun of it. That's the fun of it.
And we're back. I hope you all enjoyed that sneak peek. So, Olivia, you just released Secret Santa on November 12th. Can you tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind that song and how it was creating it?
I have released so many corny Christmas songs, and I love corny Christmas, don't get me wrong, but I just wanted to switch it up this year and make it a little bit more modern. So when I was creating, probably back early summer is usually when I create my Christmas music, just to make sure I have it all set and done by the holidays. I started listening to Ariana Grande's Christmas and Chill, and really was listening to the production of the songs mostly because I didn't really have access to producers in the summer. A lot of them were kind of taking a mental break, and so I was like, you know what? I got to do this myself. So let me study
Yeah.
some Christmas and chill beats. And that's what I did. And I was like, all right, let's go in, let's try to create something that is in this vibe. And then it ended up being a little more like Seven Rings Christmas edition and ended up being a lot more modern than I was initially going for, but I ended up really liking it, and it was just something that was so different than what I put out in the past. I've done Christmas covers and released them. I've done little remixes. I released an EP a couple of years ago called Below Zero with, I think it was 5 songs that were original, and I produced and wrote all of them, and they were more of your classic corny Christmas songs. This one is
Yeah.
just so different.
I love it. Do you have any other plans for any other, Christmas, like, singles maybe?
I like doing Christmas releases every year. So whether it's just a single or a project, this year it's just going to be this one Christmas single, Secret Santa. And then who knows, maybe next year I'll work on like a full Christmas album because I am hardcore Christmas. Our
Oh,
plans today are my boyfriend and I are going to decorate our whole house for Christmas, which might be a little early, but it's
never too early
2020.
to
So
decorate.
yeah. Why would I have this stuff up for like 2 weeks when I could have it up for 2 months?
Exactly. I just feel like it just brings the cheer all
Exactly.
year long. I don't know, that's just me though.
Yep, yep.
Love it. So we talked a little bit about how you've been working on music during quarantine, but I kind of just wanted to hear you elaborate a little bit on how you feel like the pandemic maybe affected your writing style or maybe even inspired you in different ways.
It was definitely a weird time for me, especially in the beginning of quarantine. I was feeling so anxious, and I do suffer from anxiety usually, but it was on another level at the beginning of quarantine because I was so unsure of everything. Like, we didn't have answers. It was scary. I was don't even want my parents to go to work, and they were still going to work, and it was making me anxious. Like, everything was making me anxious, and I really turned to music to help me with that. And I've never written about my anxiety, and that's not really something I've ever opened up about on social media or in my music at all. So this year was something very different, with kind of letting people in to know who I am as a person more than just me as an artist and kind of the face you see on social media. So it felt very vulnerable to start writing about anxiety and the things that I was dealing with this year. But when I put it out, like, the response was unlike any song I had ever released. And I think it was just because people related to it and they appreciated me opening up and getting to know me more as a person. I was getting DMs like, "Hey, I didn't know you dealt with this. I deal with it too. It means so much that you would write a song about it." And that just made it all worth it for me. I'm like, you know what? This is why I'm making music. I want to make music to help people, whether it's just feeling happy getting through their day or if it's like going through shitty times and
Yeah.
coming out on the other end. So my song "Take a Shot" was all about anxiety that was released earlier in the fall. So my writing style has definitely changed in 2020, and I feel like it's definitely changed for the better, just opening up more.
That's amazing because I feel like that's how you really resonate with, artists nowadays, and that's kind of just what
Yeah.
makes me love music so much, and I've always just wanted to be so involved is because
Mhm.
you when people open up like that and can connect on those things, you can see yourself in them, and it
Yeah.
kinda just makes it all feel a little bit, I guess, more normal
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I don't know, like, I've gotten so close to people who follow me on social media that they feel like my friends. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, it's just cool that I can share my music and have everyone react like that, and because it's definitely scary to release music no matter what it's about, but when it's about something that's like a little more vulnerable, it's definitely a little more scary. My mom even called me after I released the song. I was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good. Like I got it covered, but I wanted to write about the things that I was feeling at the beginning of quarantine, and that song really helped me get through it.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm good now. Everything was fine, but I mean, you go through the motions, so.
And how do you feel like your like your songwriting process typically goes? Like especially like with like Take a Shot, like I mean, this obviously could change per song, but do you hear like a melody first? Do you hear like lyrics come like into your head? Like how is that
Yeah.
process for you?
Yeah, I mean, usually if I'm producing the beat on my own, like I did with Take a Shot, I wanted a beat that was calming feeling with a little bit of, you know, happy vibes. So it almost has in the chorus a little bit of a reggae vibe, and that just gives me vacation feelings and vibes. And I was like, okay, yeah, this is what I want. Something soothing and calming. So I usually start with the beat, and then whatever, keep using the word vibe, but I can't think of another word for it. Whatever vibe that beat gives me, then I take that into the lyrics and what I'm writing about. So usually one of my secrets with songwriting is I get the vibe of the beat, and then so say it's like happy summer, that's very generic, but I'll put that into Pinterest and I'll say happy summer quotes. And then all these things will pop up, and it just gets like me snowballing on ideas, and that really helps me just kind of kick right into high gear with writing. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah, that's a good idea, that's a good concept to write about. So that's kind of my secret, is using Pinterest quotes that have to do with the vibe of the beat. So
I love
that's usually
that.
how it goes.
Do you find that process changing like when you collaborate with someone?
I mean, I was in the studio around this time last year, and I was co-writing, and I was just like, we open up a Google Doc or a notes or whatever, and as we were listening to the beat, I was just kind of word vomiting on the Google Doc, and they're like, "How are you coming up with all this stuff so fast?" I was like, "Pinterest." So Pinterest is
That's
definitely my
amazing.
my secret, just to kind of get the juices flowing and get the vibes going. I prefer though to write kind of in my own space. That's just where I feel comfortable and I don't feel like the pressure. So I have one of my best friends who co-writes with me, and if I'm stuck on something, I can literally just send it to him and he works on it. Usually before quarantine, we were getting together at least once a week and trying to write one song a week together, but
Yeah.
since has changed.
Yeah. That's fair. Some of these listeners may be listening or just, hearing about you for the first time right now. So how would you kind of describe your overall music style to them? And what song do you think that you would recommend for them to listen to first to get a really good grasp on your sound?
Yeah, I like to describe my style as pop soul. I don't like just being in the pop, and I don't like just being in the R&B. I feel like it's kind of a cross between the two. I've always had some element of soul in there, so that's really what I like to describe my style as. And as far as the song, I would recommend. Probably to kind of get to know me sonically and as a person, my last single before Secret Santa was called Old Soul, and that's really just about who I am and the difference kind of that I felt being, I guess you'd call it an old soul, and just kind of having different goals than a lot of other people my age. But I also feel like sonically it has those elements of pop soul. So I think that would be a good one to listen to.
Would you say that that is your favorite song that you've written so far, or do you have
Hmm.
another song that you would choose?
Good question. Probably right now, yes, I love that one. And then as far as like a more upbeat, sassy song, my song All on Me is one of my all-time favorites.
Do you have any current, like, songs that kind of I mean, that could be in the works too, but any songs that you feel like might have, like, a lot of, like, emotion behind that have kind of been your favorites to be able to write and produce?
Yeah, yeah. So there's definitely a lot this year. I feel like every song this year I've released, besides Secret Santa, has been very emotional in the process of writing them. So Old Soul and Take a Shot, especially. And then I did another song before that called With a Little Bit of Love. And it was just kind of about everything that's going on in the world. It was right at the beginning of the Black Lives Matter movement, and I really wanted to find a way to give back. And at the time, at the beginning of all the craziness, I was struggling with how I could get involved. It was, right in quarantine, so it's like, do I go out and protest and risk it? Do I donate? Do I post on social media? Like, I just felt like nothing was enough. And so I did it the best way I know how and created a song and gave the proceeds to a program that is called the Turning Leaf Project. And their efforts towards Black Lives Matter was just unlike anything else I'd ever seen. And I was so impressed with them. And I was like, I have to get involved this way. So that was a really special one.
That's amazing. I actually just listened to that song yesterday,
Did you?
and I honestly felt I, like, listened to it, like, 3 times over because I was like, "Okay, I
Oh,
really vibe with this song." It's just, like,
oh.
the perfect feel good, and I felt like I even before you saying that, like, I'd almost just felt like it was just such a perfect song, like, with everything going on. It just perfectly
Yeah.
represents everything I guess the world really needs
Yeah,
right now.
exactly. I actually listened to, I don't know if you're familiar with Corinne Bailey Rae, but she's like been one of my favorites. And I was listening to her song Put Your Records On, and I was like, I want to have some sort of a similar vibe to this when I was creating
Yes.
With a Little Bit of Love. And I actually was struggling a lot on the hook lyric wise, and that's when I reached out to my friend that I write with, Roderick, and I was like, "Hey, I want something that's like we're looking on the bright side or something along those lines." And he was like, "All right, I got you." And he came back with "We Can Change the World with a Little Bit of Love." I was like, "Perfect." I
That's
absolutely
amazing.
loved it. I was like, "You couldn't have nailed that any better."
Well, I want to ask you before we get into our final few questions. I also just wanted to see how you feel like you have grown as an artist since you first really officially started. We've kind of gone like back and forth talking about like your first developings and interest into music, but I kind of just really want to get a gauge of like where you were as a person when you first really tried to go out and start music and how you feel
Mhm.
like you've developed since then.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. I've been doing music for probably 10 plus years now. When I was like 14, 15, they were sneaking me like into clubs and bars to perform. Like, I wasn't even of age to be there, but I was, they wanted me to perform there, so they would
Yeah.
kind of sneak me in to do that. So coming from that all the way to 2017, when I'd finally decided that I wanted to just do this fully independent. I'd been working with so many different companies and independent labels, and nothing ever really worked out like I wanted it to, and people were just dragging their feet, and I'm like, you know what, no one's going to work harder for me than me, so let me just do this by my damn self. So
Yeah, seriously.
that's what I did in 2017. I released my first single, and my boyfriend was a big support system for that, because he was kind of the one who pushed me to realize that I didn't need anyone else to be successful. And he was like, "Hey, we'll make this whole wall in our house full of sticky notes, and we'll put all different marketing ideas. Whenever we have an idea, we're going to stick it on the wall and we're going to execute on it." And I was like, all right. So we had a whole entire wall in our house full of sticky notes. I wish I had a picture of it. I still have all the sticky notes because I go
Oh, I
back to
love
that for
that.
marketing ideas. But that's what I did. And we had a release party, and we had all our friends and family come over. And he made it very clear. He was the one that kind of like put it together. He made it very clear, this is not a party. This is you come and you promote the song. So we were all like friends and family sitting on our phones, DMing, sharing like as much as possible to get that first single out. And it just kind of snowballed from there. It was like, all right, yeah, I can do this. I started getting it on a lot of different playlists, and I was staying up until 3, 4 a.m. every night, just finding curators on Spotify and matching their picture with a picture on Facebook. Like I was doing full on detective work to
Oh
get
my gosh,
onto
I
these
love
playlists.
that.
And so I was just going hard and grinding it. And ever since 2017, everything's really just picked up, and I have nothing else to attribute that to besides just finally realizing that I can do it on my own.
Yeah,
Not
definitely.
waiting around for people, because waiting around for people can lose you a lot of time.
Yeah, and I feel like there really is no waiting in the music industry because
No.
it is evolving and you can easily miss your shot even if you were gonna be like the next big thing. You kind of just have to take
Yeah.
those chances.
Yeah.
But you've mentioned like and I feel like you've given so much great advice so far, but just for future generations listening to this years from now, is there any more wisdom that you would want to pass on to them? And what would you want them to know about going after their passions and desires?
I mean, in today's day and age, and I think it's only gonna get bigger and better, you can do anything from anywhere. So don't put a limit on yourself like, oh, I come from a small town. Like, I'm not gonna get anywhere, or I can't move. I'm too young to go live on my own in a big city. Like, don't put that pressure on yourself. Also, don't put pressure on your age. I do that to myself all the time. Like, oh my God, I'm a dinosaur. People aren't gonna want to listen to my music. I'm too old. Like, I need to lie about my age, and I need to stop doing that because at the end of the day, like, who cares if people like your music? They like your music. They don't care about, your age. They can come up with you and grow with you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the age factor is something, and consistency is huge. I don't think that's ever going to be a thing that people look back on and they're like, oh, you shouldn't have been that consistent. I feel
Yeah.
like that's something that can just go down the line for years and years and still be good advice.
That's definitely true. I feel like I'm always telling myself because I remember, like, when I was younger, I wanted to be, like, an actress, and then I turned, like, 15, and I mean, because when you're young, you watch, like, Disney Channel, and I was like, "Okay,
Yeah.
well, now I'm too old, I'm never gonna be an actress because I didn't get on Disney
Yeah.
Channel
Yeah.
before my time was up," and I feel like that kind of, there's just something that kind of trickled on to within life, but I feel like
Hmm.
yeah, I've started to notice that it's almost kind of a good thing because then you realize you probably weren't ready at that exact moment. And
Exactly.
now you've been able to grow and kind of strengthen your abilities even more to show the world like the best version of yourself.
Yeah, and really, I believe that timing is everything in life. And if I signed some big contract back when I was 14 and I was stuck in it for years, like I might not be where I am today because I was being held back, or if you're shelved as an artist, like you just never know what's going to happen. So you just have to trust the timing.
Exactly. Well, that is beautiful. I know that this year has been
Thanks.
crazy and everything has kind of changed. And I know musically it kind of has limited a few things, but is there anything that you're really excited to do once things have, I guess, settled down and we can kind of resume events and social gatherings?
Yeah, I mean, shows would be awesome because especially this year, my following's grown a good amount, and I feel like it would be really fun to actually meet everyone that's been supporting me for the past year. So hopefully that can happen.
I cross my fingers. I really am. I need concert season. I've
Yeah,
had so many Snapchat memories and I just look back and I'm like,
it's
wow, I was
depressing.
at a concert today.
I know.
It's been so sad.
Yeah, hopefully it changes, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, before we close out, I'm gonna throw four rapid fire fun questions at you. I mean, I like to think they're
Okay.
fun. We'll see how fun they are. But just try to answer them like quick, don't overthink it.
Okay.
Just a little cute way that we can like get to know you a little bit more. But
Okay.
tell us three pet peeves.
Oh, chewing loud. I hate that. Um, wow, these are gonna all be like coming from my boyfriend, but like throwing your clothes not in the laundry basket, like just next to it, like that drives me absolutely
Oh,
insane. Like,
I
why
agree.
are you throwing it next to it? It's right there.
Doesn't make any sense.
Christ, I don't understand. Oh god, I definitely have to have a third pet peeve. A lot of things bother me. But now that I'm being put on the spot, can't think of them. But the chewing is like number one and two because I just can't. I can't. When people chew with their mouth open and chew loud, which my boyfriend does, I'm like, did your parents not teach you? Like, what are you doing? Why are
That's
you chewing
amazing.
like that? So that's number
Okay.
one and two.
Yeah, that definitely
It's
counts.
I
And then
can't.
laundry 3. Beautiful.
Yeah,
Okay,
ridiculous.
finish this sentence. On Sunday mornings, you can usually find me.
Hmm. I would like to say at church, but that's no longer. Um, Sleeping in.
Yes, most definitely.
That like Sundays for some reason like the week just hits me and I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm exhausted." So I
Yeah.
like to use that day to just kind of regroup, get my house in order. Like during the week, I'm not so much worried about household things. I'm worried about work. Worried about other things. But Sunday is like my laundry day, get everything in order day.
I love that. That's honestly me too. Like in the morning, I love to have and I'll also do like a big breakfast on Sunday just for like no
Yep.
reason, just because I feel like
Yeah.
that's the day you're really supposed to actually eat
Yeah.
breakfast at a respectable time.
Exactly.
But if you could be anywhere other than here, right at this exact minute, where would you be?
Mm. Probably Paris. I wanted to go to Paris for so long, and that's where if I get that ring anytime soon, that is where I would like my honeymoon to be. Paris I don't know, it's the city of romance, and I don't know, it's just so cool. I've been watching Emily in Paris on Netflix.
Oh my goodness, I haven't started
Have
it
you?
yet. Is it good?
It's so corny, but it's just easy
Yeah.
watching, and just being in Paris, it just looks so nice. So that's somewhere I've always wanted to go.
Ugh, it seems like such a beautiful. I just finished watching Sex in the City. That's been like
Yep,
my
love it.
me and my roommates go to, and because I'd
Mhm.
never seen it, and we totally like
Mm,
we were gonna watch Emily in Paris together after. I know I'm awful,
that's
but
crazy.
I
I was
finally
watching it
watched
as
it.
like a sixth grader.
I don't know how
Like,
I
ooh, this is interesting.
yeah, I think it just went over my
It's
head.
so
I think
good.
I thought that it was something else before watching it because I'm so
Yeah.
picky with shows,
Yep.
which I hate. Because then I'll also start a show and then like finish it in an
Oh yeah.
entire day. But
Yeah.
yeah, that I added that to our list, and I'm expecting the corniness, but I'm excited for it.
Yeah. No, it's good. I mean, it's not like any crazy storyline or anything, but I don't know, it's just cute, and
Yeah,
it's good like little background show while you're doing your work.
that's good. That's what I need. Okay. Lastly, what would be your personal motto?
Hmm.
You could just think of one off the top of your head.
Probably be grind it. Like I am a workaholic, and like I always say, and maybe this is more of a motto instead of just the simple grind it, but I always say, no one ever said I worked my ass off and never got anywhere. Like that
Yeah.
doesn't happen. So that's my motto is like if you work hard, you're bound to find success.
And do you have like with everything kind of going crazy? I know people kind of have troubles just finding like routines during this pandemic. Do you kind of have any advice for just kind of letting yourself kind of focus and grind and just being able to be attentive to yourself and kind of give yourself that self-care?
Yeah. I mean, for me, I need to have a planner. Like if I try to keep it all in my head, like I need to write it down. I can't
Yeah.
That gives me a little bit of just mental clarity to know like, okay, I can take that off of my worry list. I write it down and this is what I need to do. I'm a big like planner. I like to have things planned out and scheduled, and that I think just helps me be successful because I'm not worried about, oh, okay, I need to remember this. Like if I write it down and it's all planned out, I'm good.
Yeah. That's exactly how I am. Like if I my notes on my phone is probably just like it'll be like 50 notes a day from just like random little thoughts that I need because I just
Yeah.
have to get everything out. Like if
Yeah.
I'm thinking about something, planning it out, it's just if it's all out on paper, I'm like a little bit ish less
Yes.
stressed than I was before.
Yep,
But
same.
that's a beautiful model. I'll have to hang up in my room, grind it so I can think about that when I'm trying to get through my finals in these
There
next
you go.
11 weeks.
Oh, good luck. I'm so
Ugh,
glad that I'm past that.
yeah, you're
That
so
is
lucky.
is rough, I know. The second I graduated college, I was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing. I never have to do this again."
That's what I'm looking forward to because I only have one more semester after
Oh,
this, and
there
so
you go.
I'm
You're
just
almost
like,
there.
it's gonna be bliss. Yeah, I'm gonna be able to like go home after I work and not have to
Mhm.
be like, oh my gosh, my paper. Like, I just
Yeah.
can't wait to just
Oh.
oof. But lastly, is there anything that you want the listeners to know about any future projects that you may have coming up, or anything that you may be working on at this moment, or literally anything you have going on for you?
Yeah, so I usually like to end the year with a New Year's Eve release just to really cap off each year right, go into the next year right.
Yeah.
So the plan is to have a New Year's Eve release, and I just got the mix back. I saw the email come in as we were talking, so hopefully the mix is good and I can register it and get it all together. So should be all set with that. And then I have just a bunch of music in the queue ready to go in 2021. No set release dates yet, but for sure I'll continue to be consistent.
Ugh, that's so exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing like
Same.
the potential New Year's if that's the thing. And just
Yes.
2021 in general, what your music brings to it, what everything brings to 2021.
Yeah.
But that is amazing. Where can everyone find you and your music?
Everyone can find me across the board is Olivia King Music on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, you name it, TikTok. I'm there, Olivia King Music.
Awesome. Well, you heard it here, everyone. Be sure to go check that out. And thank you so much for taking the time to be here today, Olivia. I loved getting to know more about you and just learning where you came from, where you've been, and seeing how far you're going to be able to go. And I can't
Of
wait to
course.
see what else you have in the rest of this year and the rest of the future. Thank you so
Of
much.
course. Thank you.
And that's a wrap. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. Thank you so much again to Olivia for sitting down with me and doing this. I hope that you guys really enjoyed this episode. I think that this is such a fun format and it gets us all of the details that you're dying to know. And it's actually factual. So I really appreciate her taking the time out of her busy schedule to sit down with us. And I really hope that you guys enjoyed this format. So be sure to head over to our Instagram at behind.themic. We post photos every episode, so there's definitely photos attached for Olivia's episode live right now. So be sure to head over there and check those out. I also wanted to mention I love connecting with you guys on Instagram. And a few weeks ago, I connected with a listener who listened to Lana Del Rey's episode and informed me of a few mistakes that I had made in the episode. So I just wanted to provide a few corrections to those. I had implied that her mother had passed away when that did not happen. And the source that I had read, it literally said that she had passed away, I think, from like a disease. But then I had like rechecked it after I'd read her comment and I didn't find that trace at all. So I'm just confused. Like that might have just been my brain. I don't know. But I also wanted to correct her sister, whose name that I don't remember her first full name, but she goes by Chuck, and didn't say I didn't say that. I just said her birth name, and I can't even remember her birth name now, so that's great. I think it starts with like a C or something, Charlotte or something. I don't know, but I just wanted to correct that. I really appreciate like hearing those corrections because it is just me going through the script, and I don't know everything, even though I would really like to think that I do some of the times, most of the times. I don't. And as long as it's a one man show, I try to do my best, but I do want to try to keep it as accurate as possible. And I'm definitely trying to work on that. But I really do appreciate that kind of feedback. And I know that she was probably scared to like have to say that, to be like, you're wrong. But I don't have that kind of complex where I like can't hear that shit. So I really appreciate hearing that stuff. I love to hear you guys' feedback. This podcast is for you, made by, well, me, but we're like the same person, I'm assuming. So it's basically made by us. So I want to make this fun. I want to try to be as accurate as possible. So I hope that this episode did a good job of it. I feel like I couldn't have messed up there, but in the future, I love hearing that stuff and just any recommendations that you have. I mean, I may not take all of them because, I'm gonna do what I do, but like, I love it. So keep that coming in. I think I already said the Instagram. I'm gonna say it again, at behind.the_mic. Go there now, follow, talk to us, look at our photos. I say us a lot. It's just me. I love talking to you guys. Can you tell I'm lonely? I don't know. Okay, well, thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. I can't say it enough. I literally cannot say it enough. I had so much fun doing this, and I hope to do it again. And I hope that you guys loved it. Please be sure to head over to Olivia's Instagram and check her out, check her music out, and stay awesome, stay safe, wear masks, support Black businesses, support Black people, and stay educated, stay knowledgeable. And I love you. Eat some stuffing and go make that wish with your wishbone, girly. I don't know. Okay. Love you guys. See you soon.